One of the topics that Phyllis and I will talk about sometimes is self-preservation. The idea of how to be around things, people that cause you challenges, and survive. Now, survival skills and tactical issues are another matter, and they're more interesting sometimes to talk about. I've heard authors talk about it as triggers, as things in your culture, your environment that you have allergies to. You get around this type of behavior and you go way too far with it. You get around this person and you just have this negative reaction and you wind up with remorse the next day for the way you acted and things of that nature. There are some steps and protective measures you can take that were taught to me by some people much wiser than I several years ago. And went off be an acronym, I think that's the right word to use, B.E.A.R, B-E.A.R, like a big black one, big brown one, maybe a polar one. The first one is B, buddy system. Tell somebody you trust, and maybe only one or two people that you trust, of your concern about the situation or the element of the situation that you're concerned about. It could be simple as because of our work, we have to go to this particular event, but you know that one of the people there, we'll call him Larry the Lizard. Larry, he's got this personality quirk that just drives you crazy. Maybe Larry has no ill intent. Maybe Larry's idea is he thinks he's trying to reach out. He thinks he's making contact with you, being funny. But it just makes you want to punch him in the mouth or something. Well, you're going there with people you trust. You have a buddy system. For starters, you have someone then that you're accountable to, someone who knows to be watching for you to be inappropriate in your behavior or your response to someone. But you can also allow them to run block for you a little bit. There's one more person there. It's not just you and Larry. So buddy system. Let somebody know what you're struggling with and where you need some support to make it through safely. Second letter would be E, escape. We saw this in the Bible with Joseph and Potiphar's wife. Doesn't sound like it turned out very well for him, but even though he may have spent the night in jail and many years thereafter, he did it with his integrity intact. The troublesome offer came from Potiphar's wife to the young, strong man. He fled. He made his escape. It's also a great journey album if you ever get the opportunity to listen to that. But there are times, I think, in the Western culture, in some of the environments I've been in, that the idea was that if that sort of opportunity presented itself, the appropriate thing to do was to get involved and to engage in it. And that can be desperately dangerous in many ways. So escape. Just get the heck out of Dodge. A is the other one, avoid. We do this with our diet sometimes. We avoid gluten, we avoid wheat, sometimes we avoid sugar. It's okay to set up a period of time during the day when you answer emails and not respond immediately to each one of them. You can avoid some of these issues for a period of time until you're in a better state of mind to deal with them. Maybe you have to vent, get out some of your stress and grief before you can go to deal with somebody in a professional manner so that you can work toward the outcome that you would really want to happen there rather than just getting in your 2 cents. And then the final word is R, restrict. Restrict your access to it. Again, it's a little bit like avoid in the business place. You can say, well, we'll restrict how much time we spend on email. We'll restrict how long we'll let this meeting go. We'll restrict who contacts the customer because we know that these people might say and do things that would give a bad image. So you can restrict your access to it. When you're speaking about personal relationships and people, potential and dangerous things occurring in interactions like that, you're just physically restricting the access that people have to you. Distance is your friend. Law enforcement's trained to keep a certain amount of distance, enough distance that they can obtain control of a situation, but enough distance that somebody can't surprise them. If there is someone in the room that you're concerned about how they'll get to you, say it's at a party and they're intoxicated and they don't really have their normal wits about them, their normal self-control. Well, as long as you keep a table or something between you, you're safer, right? Norman Vincent Peale hit on this idea of restricting your access to things that take you down roads you don't want to go. He told the story of a man in a book that he wrote, a man who came to him and was counseling. I don't know if he came to Mr. Peale for spiritual counseling or if he was seeing a counselor, and sometime Mr. Peale got this story, but the man had an adulterous affair going on. So the question was, where does this occur? Well, I go to her apartment. It was back east. It was one of those buildings where from the street, you ring into the room ring into the apartment that you want to go to, and then that person opens the gate for you. We have some gated communities that are still like that here in the area that I live. He said, I make lots of good resolutions to put this thing to rest. Turn away and walk away, and don't want to tear my family apart. All those things that the adulterous fellow would say. So, well, when you get around her, all those good intentions go out the window. Is that what you're saying? Yes. I just forget my name. Well, can you keep yourself from ringing a doorbell? Are you strong enough to do that? He thought he was. So that was his new challenge. Next time you go to see this girl, next time you go to visit your lover, don't ring the bell. I can imagine he may have felt foolish just standing there on the corner, maybe even walking toward the bell and back toward the street, back and forth across the sidewalk. People would go past him on their way to the corner store, come back, and he's still standing there. Maybe in inclement weather, he stands there in the rain, feels like a fool. But he kept from ringing the doorbell. And by restricting his access to this other individual, he stopped the behavior that would have occurred between them. After a period of time, the way Peale wrote it was the spell was broken. He was able to stop hurting her. He was able to stop hurting his family and able to close the door on that relationship and begin to get back to his life. No buddy system. Avoid. Escape. Restrict. Some ways to guard yourself from getting into other people's drama, or from creating some of your own.